The snow never stopped falling, but something felt wrong long before winter ended. This story will reveal how a simple snow pile exposed a powerful HOA's biggest mistake. From the first heavy snowfall, Daniel noticed the pattern. Every plow cleared the HOA street clean, then dumped the snow directly onto the edge of his property. At first, he believed it was careless routing. He documented it quietly, taking photos at sunrise while the air still felt calm. Daniel was a private man who valued peace, and his small home sat just outside the HOA boundary. That boundary mattered more than anyone realized. As winter stretched on, the piles grew taller, blocking his driveway, crushing his fence, and melting into muddy damage. Daniel called the HOA office politely. Emails were ignored. When he finally reached a board member, he was told the same line twice: "That's not our responsibility." The promise of this story is simple. What happened next would turn that confidence into panic. Daniel didn't argue. He didn't shout. He waited. Because while the snow kept falling, the truth underneath it was slowly being buried, and when it surfaced, it would change everything. By midwinter, the snow wall along Daniel's land looked intentional, and that was the moment he realized this was no accident. The HOA plows came like clockwork, always stopping at the same point, always pushing the snow in the same direction. Daniel stood one morning watching it happen again, his breath fogging the air as the driver avoided eye contact. He recorded everything: dates, times, license plates. What hurt most wasn't the damage, but the message behind it. The HOA had decided he didn't matter. When Daniel finally attended an HOA meeting, he was treated like an outsider invading a private club. The board smiled tightly while repeating policies that didn't apply to his land. One member even suggested he move if winter was too hard. The room laughed softly. That night, Daniel spread the documents across his kitchen table. Property surveys, city codes, snow disposal regulations. What he found made his hands shake. The HOA street sat higher than his land, and dumping snow downhill violated multiple safety rules. Worse, meltwater was flowing toward protected drainage. This part of the story pushes forward with one truth: the HOA thought they were untouchable. They had no idea Daniel was about to stop playing defense. The first warm day of the season revealed the damage in full, and it revealed the HOA's hidden liability. As the snow melted, Daniel's yard turned into a flooded mess. His fence collapsed under the weight, and water crept dangerously close to his foundation. He filmed everything in clear daylight, narrating calmly, never exaggerating. He sent one final email to the HOA with evidence attached and a simple request to stop. The reply came fast for the first time. It said, "Our legal team is aware." That sentence changed everything. Daniel forwarded the entire file to the city inspection office. Within 48 hours, inspectors arrived. They measured slopes, checked drainage, and asked why an HOA street lacked proper runoff controls. Daniel stood silently as the same board members who ignored him now avoided his eyes. The inspectors returned twice more. Then a notice appeared on the HOA bulletin board: "Temporary review pending." The neighbors whispered. Snowpiles that once felt like power now felt like proof. This is where curiosity turns sharp. Because the HOA still believed they could manage the situation quietly. They were wrong. The inspection had only just begun. The city's findings were not quiet, and they were not negotiable. What followed shocked everyone watching from the sidelines. The inspection report listed repeated violations: improper snow disposal, drainage obstruction, and environmental risk. The HOA board called an emergency meeting, but this time the city attended. Daniel sat in the back as officials explained the consequences in plain language. The HOA street was built without sufficient winter management planning. Dumping snow onto private land had masked deeper construction shortcuts. One inspector said a single sentence that changed the room: "This street should never have passed approval." Silence followed. Within days, orange barriers appeared at both ends of the HOA road. The street was closed pending repairs. Residents were forced to park elsewhere. Complaints exploded. The board's confidence collapsed. They tried to shift blame onto contractors, onto weather, onto misunderstandings. None of it worked. Daniel never smiled. He didn't need to. The payoff was forming clearly now. The same snow they used to bully had uncovered violations buried for years. And the story was far from over. As repairs began, the financial reality hit hard, and the HOA realized the cost was far greater than pride. The city required full drainage reconstruction before reopening the street. Estimates climbed into numbers the HOA hadn't prepared for. Special assessments were announced. Homeowners demanded answers. Meetings turned tense. Daniel was no longer invisible. He was asked to speak. Calmly, he explained what he had endured all winter. Photos played on a screen. Timelines matched perfectly with plow schedules. No insults. No anger. Just facts. The room shifted. People began asking why the board ignored him. Why no one checked the rules? The board members avoided eye contact. One resigned the following week. The city added another requirement: independent oversight until completion. The promise made at the beginning of this story was being fulfilled. The HOA's power depended on silence. And silence was gone. But the final twist was still waiting. Spring arrived, and with it, accountability. The HOA's image was permanently changed. Construction dragged on for months. The closed street became a daily reminder of failure. Daniel repaired his fence using compensation approved by the city. Inspectors confirmed his land was protected moving forward. The HOA's legal bills mounted, and trust within the community fractured. A new board was elected under strict supervision. Policies were rewritten. Snow routes were redesigned. Daniel was offered apologies, some sincere, some strategic. He accepted none publicly. His goal was never revenge. It was recognition. The city officially cleared his property of all fault and issued a compliance order against the HOA. The same people who dismissed him now followed rules carefully. The story was nearly complete. One last moment remained to seal it. The street reopened quietly at the start of the next winter, but nothing felt the same. Snow fell again, yet this time, plows followed strict routes. Drainage worked. Daniel watched from his window as snow stayed where it belonged. The HOA never contacted him again. They didn't need to. The lesson was written in concrete and paperwork. Power without responsibility always leaves a trail. Daniel's story spread locally, not because he shouted, but because proof speaks louder than noise. And that was the final twist in this unbelievable HOA story. If you love the drama, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment sharing your thoughts. It really helps this channel grow.